Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to The Ray Taylor Show, where I bring you the reviews on the latest movies and TV shows, as well as foreign and classic films. I'm your host, Ray Taylor, and on this podcast, I'll be talking about all things film and television. Whether you're looking for a new show to binge, or want to know if that blockbuster is worth the trip to the theater, or just want to hear my thoughts on a classic or foreign film, I've got you covered. So sit back and join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes, and let's dive into the world of film and television together. On this episode, I am reviewing and talking about another movie that is nominated for Best Picture of the 2023 Academy Awards, as I have been reviewing and talking about all this week. 3 movies that I have yet to see that have been nominated for Best Picture, as I will be ranking my top 5 movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the end of the week on Sunday on Top 5. I am reviewing this movie, which is one that I hadn't seen, which is one that is nominated. It came out last year. Title, Women Talking. If I didn't already mention that, Women Talking is the movie that I will be talking about. Came out last year, written and directed by Sarah Polley, co-written by Miriam Toews. Stars Rooney Mara, Judith Ivey, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, and Frances McDormand, among many others. This movie is the options. These women have options to either do nothing, stay and fight, or leave. And it takes place in the year 2010, which is mind-boggling. This could have easily been in the 1800s. The women of an isolated religious community grapple with reconciling a brutal reality with their faith. I believe this is a community of Mennonites. So, you know, I would say religious cults living as if it is still the 1800s, but in the year 2010. There is, it's an interesting movie. I had no idea what this movie was about, as I prefer to go into every movie not knowing anything other than the title. But I like the movie. It's a very simple movie. The title explains what you are going to see in this movie. It is a movie about women talking, usually in a barn. Together, they collectively get together to discuss what the women of this community are going to do. So very simple movie. And I think this movie, in a lot of ways, grapples with interesting and sadly topical themes. So I can understand on some level why this movie would be nominated, because of interesting themes and the topics it brings up, and also in relation to the religious extremism that is a big part of this movie, and is something that is in many ways a big part of some of the issues we're facing in this country with religious extremism. So I like the movie. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily nominate if I was part of the Academy. I don't know if I would necessarily nominate it for Best Picture. I do not think this is. I would be disappointed if this is the movie that won Best Picture. I think this movie, has beautiful cinematography, very desaturated in a lot of ways, almost looks black and white, but still amazing compositions. The desaturated nature of it definitely kind of lends itself to feeling like it's taking place in the 1800s as opposed to the modern day 2000s, as well as the fact that, there's horse and buggies. They don't have electricity. They're doing things the very old school way, and they're dealing with issues that are in very progressive for their community, right? So there's aspects of it. Performances are good. I can understand actresses being nominated. I can understand maybe even the cinematography being nominated. But overall, Best Picture, it's an interesting movie, but not like anything I don't know. It's not big enough, and definitely doesn't connect with me in the ways that I would prefer a film to do, in the many ways films can, the many emotions that a film could make you feel, the many subjects that a film could make you ponder and think about, right? But overall, you have this religious colony using religion to oppress women. They are very much a second-class citizen. They themselves discuss themselves as being treated as less than the animals that exist in this community, right? So horrible things have happened to a lot of these women, so they decide to organize, get together, and decide whether they're either going to do nothing and to allow the men of this community to continue doing whatever they feel they should do. Their choice is to do nothing, to either stay and fight, or to just leave, for all the women to just bounce out of this community, right? And they get together, they take a vote, and then a lot of the movie is certain women from this community getting together and trying to discuss, of the two options that were the majority decision, to decide what they're going to do, why they're going to do it, the complexities of how they're going to go about this, what that might mean, what they actually want to accomplish by doing these things. So it's definitely very interesting things and topics that these women are talking about, and it is very much a movie just about people talking. And then some beautiful views of just the properties they live on, and different scenes and different things like that. And part of their fear, right, is that if they leave the colony, that God won't let them into heaven, because part of the reason why their society is set up in a way, and the part of the reason why men have ultimate control over these women, is because of one of the main reasons religion is created, in order to control people and to make them fear any decisions to go against what somebody wrote in a book, and going against whatever they feel to, necessarily need to, go by the guides of, because not everything in the Bible is law. That you can pick and choose what you want to, you see that today, where people are anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, as many is the new trend for the hateful, bigoted people are. But they don't seem to want to follow the rules and laws in the Bible about, like, stoning women, or not eating, like not wearing clothing of two different materials, or the plethora of things, of laws that are supposedly in the Bible that I'm sure the majority of them have never even read. They're just picking and choosing. Like, okay, well, we can use this part of the Bible in order to demonize and punish this group of people, so that we can distract from the fact that we don't care about people. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about Attention all Ray Taylor Show fans! We're excited to announce we've just released a line of exclusive merchandise featuring original artwork inspired by the show. Our high-quality shirts and biodegradable phone cases are a perfect way to show your support for the show and make a great gift for any fan. Plus, with each purchase, you'll be helping us continue to bring you great content. So don't wait. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com now and check out the full collection. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll show your support by grabbing some Ray Taylor Show merchandise today. And now, let's get back to the show. So these women are in this situation fundamentally because of their religion, and their fear of making any change or leaving is that they may not even be allowed into this magical fairyland place that happens after you die, right? They're afraid they're not going to go to heaven, right? While the only reason that it's a difficult decision is because of their religion, right? If you are dealing with the things that these women are dealing with, it's a very easy decision what to do. It's a very easy decision what to do. But because of their religion, it's not an easy decision, because they have to also abide by whatever laws that they particularly feel are relevant. So, the majority of this film is them deciding and how they should respond to the evil ways that they are being treated, right? In many ways, not far from what a lot of people are facing in religious cults today. Women treated like second-class citizens. Hello, America. Women are lost in the past year the ability to decide what happens to their body during certain parts. A certain political movement has made it okay for the government to dictate people's medical decisions in a way that is a complete and utter government overreach and is directed at women to make women less free than everybody else. Because imagine if the government would arrest a man if they did something to their body, right? How dare you? How dare you tell me what to do about my body? But, I think what she's doing is wrong. Even though it's just kind of a belief, there's no real proof, and it's really a bigger issue than what they're making it out to be. But, it's the same thing, using religion to control women and to make them have less freedoms than everybody else. And meanwhile, the abusers are protected, right? And using religion to justify the abuse as well and the inhuman treatment, right? But I'll get into my thoughts more in spoilers, which I'll go into. It's going to be a pretty quick review, but to talk about what's happening to them and different things that come up. I think it's an interesting movie. I'm sure it's a great movie that it's I can see a lot of people gaining a lot of it's very interesting how they are trying to come together and wrestle with these things. But, I don't know, ultimately a movie, because I'm a privileged white dude, it's, and I'm sure part of the fact that their religion is the big reason why these horrible things are happening to them is sad, because they are indoctrinated and groomed and brainwashed into believing the things that they believe in, because they live in a cult where they are not allowed to go outside of their cult. They don't even have the ability. They don't even know what the map looks like. They don't know what the world is outside of their community, right? They are in many ways the same as religious fundamentalists who homeschool their kids and just train them and raise them in a way that completely detaches them from any kind of actual reality. And then to see them struggle, if anybody's ever known somebody who grew up Mormon and then left the church, you know how naive and unprepared they are for actual life. And that is something that happens in this movie, which, let me get into spoilers, right? I ain't getting into spoilers. So it's hard for me to be sympathetic to people whose religion is the thing that's oppressing them. It's not their fault, because that is what they were brought into. They were raised and groomed and brainwashed to believe these things. But, I've seen the disgusting nature of many religions that aren't as restrictive as this community is. And it's just, I don't know. It's sad. It is so sad that is what the majority of the use of religion is, to control people and to shield them and to make them naive and to make them ignorant to the real world and to what's actually going on in the world, right? So the fact that this generational trauma from their religious beliefs is responsible, it sucks, but it's hard to sympathize when it's like their fear is so made believe, right? Make believe to me, right? Like their decision. So what's happening is women are being raped by these men, and the men, nothing's happening. Like, they got arrested but instantly released from prison. So nothing's happening. The women are tired of this happening, right? There's one woman who was pregnant and lost the baby, and she like all these women are being abused, not only raped but also physically abused. I'm sure verbally abused. They mention how they are treated worse than the animals in the community. So I'm sure it is far worse than even the horrible things we're seeing. Right? So it's an easy decision to leave, right? Because to do nothing is just accepting what they're doing. To stay and fight means that you think that you could somehow change these men that have also been raised and groomed to treat women like this and to feel justified in the way they do that. To think that you could somehow change their mind is absurd and just end up being a war. It will never end. Whatever fight they think they're going to do, in my opinion, the only option is to leave. But the crazy aspect of this is that they are living in the year 2010. So it's not like they can just load up like it's the 1800s or 1600s and just go find another plot of land to start a community. Like, they leave and they're in modern cities with people who aren't brainwashed into believing these fundamentalist, cult-like beliefs, right? They need to go get real jobs and get apartments and things. They're not going to they don't just have like a big plot of land that they can just go buy. What money? Do they have money? Probably not. So it is like a situation where everything is stacked against them for them to do anything that would better their situation. So it makes sense why it would be a troubling thing. And they don't even know what the world is. They don't know they don't know where they are on the map. They don't know where they exist in this world in every way. In a geographical way, in a spiritual way, in an educational way. They are so detached from knowing anything of modern society. So it is really like if they decide to leave, it is like as if women decided to get onto a spaceship and leave Earth to another planet. That is almost the situation that they are trying to decide whether they're going to stay. The two they voted on is to stay and fight or to leave, right? Obviously, do nothing was a very minority vote. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to promote. Are you looking for a way to take your love of The Ray Taylor Show to the next level? Look no further than Inspired Disorder Plus. As a member, you'll get access to a whole host of amazing perks, including the full week of shows, ad-free in both audio and video versions, a live painting archive, early access to the many faces, members-only discounts and deals, a podcast back catalog with over 600 episodes. But that's not all. As a member, you'll get access to my personal blog as well as my creative writing. You'll also get the chance to ask me anything you want. With all of these benefits and more, Inspired Disorder Plus is a must-have for any fan of The Ray Taylor Show. So don't wait. Go sign up now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and start enjoying all of the amazing perks of the membership. And now, let's get back to the show. So it's an interesting situation that they're met with and leads to interesting discussions, right? So they all gather and just in this barn to talk, and they have this one guy who's a nice guy, and he's taking the minutes. He's writing down their meeting and writing down everything they say and trying to help out, and very much on their side, very much progressive in that way. And it's I don't know. It's a movie, I guess. it's interesting. One of the women who was attacked and lost a baby, I think, the rape baby, decided that she could no longer pretend to be a woman anymore, and she transitioned. And it's nice to see that even though they are in this religious cult, that the women of this community in this movie, I don't know how open and accepting they would be in reality, but at least in this movie, they are accepting of this woman who decides to transition no longer pretend to be a woman and transitions to be a man, dresses as a man, no longer talks to anybody but the kids. And, it's an interesting aspect of the movie that showing how progressive they are in a way. But it's like, even at that point, like, I don't know how open Mennonites would be in reality if somebody transitioned in their community. I can't imagine they would be accepting, but in this movie they are, So, the fact that they don't know where they exist, and when they make their decision, right, they find out, like, they're taking forever to make this decision, seemingly don't get anywhere, and then they find out that the men are back. The men that raped them and abused them are back. So they have to make their decision immediately, right? And they decide that they're going to leave. And when they leave, all I could think of is, like, I want to see, right, they load up in their horses and buggies. They take the children, any, like, boy under a certain age they bring, right? And the guy that was part of their meetings, he's like, listen, if you bring older dudes, these kids, they grow up. They are groomed to treat women like this. They're groomed to be violent and to do what they want and to get what they want, because that is what they have gotten their entire lives and their parents' lives and their grandparents' lives. So they're kind of lost causes. So they only bring boys that are under a certain age. But they load up their buggies and they leave, and it's like, I want to see what happens next. Right? I want to see the sequel to that movie. That is by far the most interesting. How are they going to survive? It is 2010. They are literally transporting themselves, all of the women, from this thing. I want to see how the men deal with it. I want to see what these women do when they leave. Where do they go? Right? You have, like, this convoy of women who are wearing their bonnets and their strict religious beliefs. Where are they going to go? Right? They're going to go to what? A motel? They're going to check. I mean, it would be a great fish out of water. You want to turn this into a comedy? Be hilarious. Be great. You could have very comedic moments and very dramatic moments. But that is the story I want to see. I want to see what happens. I mean, in reality, I would imagine they end up going back because they can't exist. They are not at all prepared in any way to exist in the modern world when they've been raised to live as if it's the 1600s. They don't even know where they exist on the map. They don't know what state they're in. They don't know what country they're in. They don't know shit, man. They're so uneducated on purpose because it's another way to control people. So that's what I want to see at the end of this movie. I want to know where they end up. I want to see the movie that takes place after this movie, right? It's not like they can just go anywhere, right? I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if they just end up going back, right? And they fight. I mean, that would be their only thing. They go back. They end up getting beaten, all these things, maybe some killed, to be the made example of, right? But, and also, like, them trying to maintain their religious beliefs as they go, because, I'm sure there's plenty of Christians in this country, but there's 31 flavors of Christianity. Like, them mingling with some other flavor of Christianity, they're not like, they say they're accepting and all that, but I've seen firsthand how not accepting churches can be with somebody that doesn't fit into what they're doing. So, I don't know. It's an interesting movie. It's well acted, well shot, well written. I think it's a well-made movie. Ultimately, it's it's a story that hits hard enough, but doesn't necessarily connect. Like, it doesn't. It's not. I don't know. Like, it's interesting. I'm glad I watched it. They talk about the things they talk about. It's interesting to listen to them discuss and try to break down their situation. But ultimately, it's not like a movie that I was super enthralled and invested in. And it's only an hour and 44 minutes, so it's not a long movie. But, it is what it is. Not horrible. Don't really understand why it's definitely it's not the worst movie nominated for Best Picture, by far. I think this is more worthy of Best Picture than The Fabelmans, but it's not gonna spoilers for my Sunday's top 5. This is not going to be making my list. Spoilers. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching this episode of The Ray Taylor Show. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on women talking as much as any person could appreciate a straight white man's opinion on a movie titled Women Talking. Don't forget to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for more movie and TV show reviews. And join the conversation on your favorite podcast app by leaving a comment or a rating. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give me a subscribe, throw a rating. Be nice in the comments. If you want to be critical, still be nice. You can be critical, but be nice. But anyway, until next time, enjoy the show. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.